Hello, and welcome to day number 11 of my 12/12 birthday countdown. So we are almost at the end, and I appreciate you being here with me for day 11. So today's hard truth is about asking questions. Now, I am of the belief that I should not ask questions I don't want to know the answer to. If I don't really want to know the answer to a question, what's the point of asking it? What's the point of upsetting myself or creating some kind of conflict or confusion if I know that by me asking this particular question, it's going to put me in that state or create that kind of situation? That's not to suggest that I try to avoid having certain information or try to avoid conflict. I just feel like I need to make sure that I am ready to actually receive the response that I'm going to get. When it comes to asking questions, I kind of go through this internal assessment first before actually asking my question, right? And so that assessment consists of 5 questions. 1, am I asking the right question? 2, what is my objective? 3, how is the answer to this question going to serve me? 4, am I open to receiving the answer to the question? And then 5, can I trust the person that I'm getting the answer from? When it comes to asking questions, especially in tough situations, I feel like I have to go through that little assessment before I actually ask the question. So you may be wondering, what's the point of going through that process? Well, I feel like for me, it's important to make sure that I am mentally prepared for the answer that I am going to receive from the other person or people. Way too often when we ask questions, we have this expectation of an answer, particularly an answer that's in our favor. And when we don't get that response, then we can be upset by it. I feel like that isn't fair for the person who's giving us the response because they're not in our heads, they're not mind readers. How could they know that we have this specific answer in mind? When they don't give that, we become upset with them. And I can certainly recognize that I did not do the best job of this in my 20s, which is why now I'm sort of like at this point where I have that assessment that I go through and determine the next steps forward. An example that comes to mind is when I was maybe around 21, 22, and I was looking at a catalog back when that was a thing. And I was looking at this dress. And I had one of my male friends over and I was like, oh, hey, what do you think of this dress? And so he took a look at it and was like, oh, yeah, that's really nice. But you have to keep in mind that it looks differently on different people. And I was sort of like, what? What do you mean? What are you trying to say? He was just like, no, you have to keep in mind that it's going to look differently on you. And I was immediately offended and was just sort of like, all right. I don't know what you're trying to say. That's not what I asked you. I just asked if you thought this was a nice dress. And looking back at it now, I realized that this person was really trying to do me a favor. Like, he was not trying to be offensive in any way. He was genuinely trying to prepare me for the possibility that maybe the dress on this particular model is not going to fit me the same way. And you know what? He was 100% right, because my body type and the body type of the model wearing the dress were very different. Now, looking back at it, I can appreciate that he was just trying to be honest with me, and I wasn't willing or open to receive that at that time. Now I can look back and recognize that I was expecting a very specific answer. Either, yes, that's a nice dress, or, oh, that dress would look nice on you. It's nothing that he did wrong. He was just being honest. Nowadays, I feel like we need those types of people in our lives, right? We need people who are going to be honest with us, who's going to hold us accountable. I can appreciate today that he was just being honest and not telling me what I wanted to hear. And to be totally honest, although I didn't agree with what he said in the moment, it did cause me to rethink whether or not I actually wanted to have that dress. And I ultimately decided not to order it, because I realized that he was right, but I didn't want to say that in the moment because that wasn't the answer that I wanted, when really he was just saving me from a future headache. When it comes to asking questions, I feel like now that I have that deeper understanding of making sure that I'm asking the right question, that my objective is in alignment with what's happening, that the answer will actually serve me, that I'm open to receiving the answer, and that I can actually trust the response. Having that understanding now has been so much more helpful in terms of having clear and consistent communication. It gives me an opportunity to do a little bit of a self-check-in before I reach out to anyone. I find it particularly interesting in watching TV when it comes up in certain situations. I'm the person who talks to the TV. And so when I'm watching something and the character asks a question and you know that they really don't want to know the answer, like they want to be lied to, every time that happens, I'm like, don't ask questions you don't want to know the answer to. Because at the end of the day, you know you don't want the answer. So why even put it out there? If you want to be lied to, then just say you want to be lied to. Be honest with yourself. If you want them to be honest with you, then make sure that you're ready for that honest answer. If not, that's going to cause that person to not want to be honest with you in the future because they don't want to experience any repercussions. If we're going to ask people to be honest with us, we have to make sure that we are at least honest with ourselves in the process. Now, for me personally, I much rather someone be honest with me. In a previous series, I talked about honesty over kindness, and that is truly the case for me. I'd rather you be honest with me and tell me what's going on instead of worrying about hurting my feelings, because I feel like I benefit from the truth. But before I can expect that of somebody, I need to make sure that I am actually ready and prepared for the truth. And so that's where that internal assessment comes into play. I'm not going to ask you this question unless I am fully prepared and ready for the answer that you're willing to give. My preference is always going to be that I want the truth. One important piece to address is when I'm asking these questions, I know that I can trust the response. That's why that last question is particularly helpful. At the end of the day, I'm not going to accept a response from someone that I don't necessarily trust. What's the point of wasting their time and my time? Taking this approach has helped me in terms of having authentic relationships, in terms of having clear and consistent communication, in terms of just having people around me who are willing to hold me accountable, as I shared in my first video. And so that is today's hard truth. I thank you again for being here today, and I will see you here tomorrow for our 12th and final day of my countdown. Okay? So, see you then.